Hello, Steve Arts 89. Well, I'm doing an Alfred Hitchcock marathon. Now, this started because each year I try and watch Psycho because it is based on or set on December 11. But each year I forget. But this year I thought, I'm just going to watch it later in December because I don't want to wait, because I bought it on Blu-ray and bought the uncut version, which I hadn't seen. So then once I did that, I realized, you know what? You've had the Alfred Hitchcock collection of Blu-rays for like 13 years and still not watched them. And then I realized, you know what? Most of his films you watched back when you were a film student on VHS on a tiny little TV screen, you probably should give them a proper viewing. Since most of them you have on Blu-ray or DVD, and there's some high quality HD versions on YouTube and streaming. So I thought, I'm just going to do a proper Hitchcock marathon. So I went back and I thought I had all these films. I thought I had actually got them all over the years. And then I realized that the first decade of his career is in the silent era, because he started in Britain in the 1920s. So over 100 years ago he did his first film, Number 13. So I didn't watch that. I didn't watch The Pleasure Garden or The Mountain Eagle, which was lost anyway. I did see The Lodger a while ago. It's sort of based loosely on Jack the Ripper, but it's more about how a community reacts to having a killer in their midst. It's good. I didn't watch The Ring, Downfall of the Farmer's Wife, Easy Virtue, Champagne, or The Mannix Man. But I did watch Blackmail, which was actually released in 1929, but it was the first talkie. And it's interesting because it said it was released in both silent and sound versions. I thought, well, that would be interesting. Which one did I find? And it's weird because it starts off, no one talks, and there's no cards. So it's like a silent film, but with no dialogue, like no text. I'm like, what is this? And then in the second series, people just start talking. I'm like, well, I guess they invented sound. And it's interesting, there's a woman who is on a date with a guy. She's checking out another guy she's made plans with. They get rid of the first guy, they go out. He's an artist, he takes her to a studio, he tries to assault her, she kills him, and then someone finds out about it and tries to blackmail her and her boyfriend, who is a policeman. And it's interesting, I'm not going to give away too much because if you haven't watched it, it's actually worth watching. The lead actress is gorgeous and the photography is good. It doesn't feel that dated, it doesn't feel nearly 95 years old. Now, next we get to the 30s, and this first film we did in the 30s, An Elastic Affair, was lost. It was a short film. The second film, Juno and the Paycock, I watched the first 20 minutes. It was like a political drama set in Ireland. Wasn't that interesting? And then the video cut out after 20 minutes. I'm like, I'm going to leave that. Murder was interesting. It's about a woman who is accused of murdering, and she's an actress. It was a fellow actress in her troupe. And of course, it's not that simple, and it was reasonably well done. I was surprised how topical it seemed for 95 years ago, because a lot of the elements of the media and how it was represented in the media have not changed. And it was really interesting to see how that looked in the 1930s. The Skin Game was a fairly average drama about a family feud over property, which doesn't end well. Mary was a German language remake of Murder, which was also directed by Hitchcock. I didn't watch that because it's in German. Rich and Strange was interesting. It's about a couple who the husband's not really happy and his relative leaves him a bunch of money, and it's like, go out and have fun. There's no point wait until I die to give you this money. So they go to Europe, and on the trip back they sort of go their separate ways because he feels like he's changed because he's got money, and it doesn't go well, but they kind of end up back together, and it's some nice chemistry between the actors, and there's an interesting scene with a ship capsizing and so forth. I did enjoy that one. Not hugely. They didn't have the sort of chemistry that he managed to get with other actors later on, but you can see where he sort of repeats some formulas in later decades, and it's like the first version of that sort of film where you get the sort of couple. Number 17 was interesting. Starts off really well. There's people going into a house. It's empty. There's a body. And the atmosphere in that is really good. But then it goes into more of a political drama. Kind of takes the fun out of the last part, although there is a really nice train scene with some miniatures in that. And Hitchcock used some miniatures in his film fairly well. I was surprised about. Waltz from Vienna was a biopic about Baby Strauss and Daddy Strauss, who apparently didn't get along so well when Baby Strauss was coming out. So they did that. That was interesting. The Man Who Knew Too Much, well, I think we all know that story, and it's a well-made little spy film, but I didn't get that much out of it on reviewing it. The 39 Steps was interesting because of what the 39 Steps were and how the problem of the film was resolved by someone recounting the 39 Steps and sort of proving that this thing exists that someone was being framed for by a group that apparently didn't exist but do. So that was kind of interesting. Again, there was sort of like the female-male sort of couple that sort of has the chemistry in that was just gelling, but not as well as later films. Now, The Secret Agent is interesting. It had a very controversial scene, which I kind of ruined for myself because I was doing other things and not paying attention. I was aware that this guy was a saboteur and he was doing things in Britain that he shouldn't have. And he gives a package to this kid to take somewhere by 1:30. I'm like, ugh, why is he involving the kid in his stuff? And I was like, oh, the kid's watching a parade, he's going to be late, he's going to get in trouble, it's going to cause problems because this thing's not going to get what it's supposed to be. I didn't know it was a bomb. So the kid is late, and the bus with this kid on it and this package blows up. So this terrorist kills a kid and a busload of people. And it was really shocking for audiences back in 1936, I think. And it was shocking to me when it blew up, and I'm like, oh my God, the whole time it was a bomb. I'm like, if I'd been paying attention and gotten that, and because I have insomnia, I have sleep deprivation, I usually end up having to do things while I'm watching films to keep awake. So I just focus on a film, I drift off. So I missed the fact that it was actually a bomb, and I just thought it was something involved in, this guy's, spy game. And then we get to Sabotage, which is about a man who, I'm thinking of The Saboteur. Sabotage. Oh, damn, I've gotten this confused with a later film. I now have to Google this and work out exactly which film it was because I don't want to start this video again, and I've still got a couple of minutes. I'll go to the next one. Young and Innocent is about a guy who gets accused of doing something he didn't do. It's another formula that Hitchcock has that he repeats. The actor isn't that compelling in this. I didn't find him particularly sympathetic, and the actress who plays the female sort of one who's sort of helping him, again, not as compelling. Didn't have the sort of chemistry that he got with later actors. I guess that's kind of why he kept making this film over and over again, because of that element. Sabotage. No, not Sabotage. What am I thinking of? You're thinking of... No, I didn't need to do that. I already went through it. Why I looked at the title first and got confused with The Saboteur and thought, did I just do The Saboteur? No, that was Sabotage. The Saboteur is a different one. So I didn't need to do that. Now, The Lady Vanishes is one of the better ones. This is really good. I remember this one. I remember watching it and liking it. And it's that literal. There's a lady who gets on a train with a young woman, and she disappears, and everyone acts like they don't know where she is and what happened, and they're being gaslit, and there's a lot of confusion, and it eventually ends up becoming political, and there's quite a bit of danger and so forth. I don't want to ruin it because it is so good. I wouldn't want anyone who hasn't watched it to see this review and have it ruin it. But the lady who plays the lady is fabulous. The lead is good. The chemistry between the two actors is good. The main guy is just very flippant and mocking the more serious woman who is trying to attract. And the chemistry is here a lot more than some Hitchcock's other earlier films where he tries to get a couple to play this sort of confrontational sort of role and then sort of falling for each other. And it works a lot better in this film, which may be why it's as well regarded as it is, but it's also the story and what happens. And now the last film for the 30s, which he did, which was his last film in Britain because he moved to Hollywood in the 1940s, is Jamaica Inn. And it's an interesting story. It's a real story, and the place still exists apparently. Basically, what these people would do, these pirates, they would put out the lights that would be put out on the shore to stop ships from crashing in storms. They would cause the ships to crash, and then they would storm the ships and steal all their cargo and kill all the sailors and get away with it, basically. And this was happening for a while. And there's a woman who inherits some property who ends up getting involved in all this. And the story is more interesting than the film, but it had a couple of good scenes. I don't know why I sort of lost interest in it. I think because of the pirates and just the nature of them, I didn't find very attractive, and I just sort of couldn't really get my head into it. But the story started to get more interesting, and I had to read through some of the story on Wikipedia to catch the bits I'd missed because I didn't want to rewatch parts of it. And it does end kind of interestingly. I won't give it away, but it was a good film. But I think part of it, the setting and like I said, the pirates kind of turned me off. But ultimately, it was a good story and ended well. But so that's Hitchcock in the 30s. Like I said, the next film was a great film, and it was in the 40s, and it was in Hollywood. So I'm going to just do another video for that. I'm just going to do a decade at a time. And I'm just embarrassed that I mixed up Sabotage with Saboteur and thought I'd reviewed the wrong film until I looked at it. I'm like, no, I did that right. But, you know, in my defense, he's made about 40 or 50 films over the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, into the 70s. His last film was 76. So that's like 6 decades. And remembering them all is going to be a bit tricky. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of Hitchcock as a filmmaker and any of these films if you saw them and liked them.